Good afternoon and welcome, baseball fans. The temperature's warming up. We've got spring training baseball down in Florida and Arizona, which can mean only one thing. It's that time of year again. It's time for Southeastern Sports 2025 Pre-Draft Special. As always, I'm your host, Scott. We've got a jam-packed, exciting show for you this afternoon. I'm lucky to have both our analysts with us here tonight, our lead analyst, Thomas Cashin, and our newest analyst, Greg Lindsay. And we have a whole lot of stuff coming up tonight for you on this pre-draft special. All right, folks, as always, I'm here standing beside our lead analyst, Thomas. Welcome back to the show this year, Thomas.
Thank you, Scotty. Great to be here, as always.
Glad to have you here. So, Thomas, let's take a look at our first rewind of the season, our 2024 rewind.
Well, Scotty, we had our playoff matchups, which was quite interesting. We had Greg Lindsay versus myself, Thomas, and the Georgia Dominators. That was the first round matchup. We also had Tammy, the Wildcats, versus Dan Wolf. That was the first round matchup. You had Dan over Tammy, and you had Greg over myself for the second year in a row in the playoffs, I'll add. So you had the same matchup as 2023, Dan versus Greg, and this time you had the roles reversed. Greg was able to beat Dan and get his first championship, denying Dan his third title.
A very interesting season.
It was a lot of ups and downs, a lot of comers and goers.
I know at one point the Gatlinburg Cubs had the longest losing streak and was 1-10, but somehow or another they finished the year strong, 7-15.
They were really strong. The Atlanta Express, they started off, I think they were 9-2, and then all of a sudden they had a mid-season stumble that took them out of the playoffs, almost got in. I think they were a half a game short because there was a tie, which interesting fact, there's been a tie the last 2 years now.
I noticed that this year.
And that's very interesting. So we'll have to see if that happens again or if everything falls into place like it should. And we got a couple of other teams like Ken. He's been in the in the finale before.
Yeah.
Struggled a little bit last year. Will he bounce back? And we've got a lot of other teams. What kind of run are you going to give? So a lot of different storylines going into 2025.
A lot of things to look forward to with the draft. See if anybody changes up their drafting strategy.
Correct.
But Thomas, I seen you brought something in the studio today. What did you bring us?
Yeah, Scotty. This year we are playing for the championship trophy. So 2025, the winner will be receiving this, and hopefully it will be yours truly, the Georgia Dominators, for a third time, but we'll see.
It could very well be the Gatlinburg Cubs for their first championship, or the Warner Robin Bombers.
It could be. We got 7. We got all 8 teams that are really competitive, and it's just way too early. As it goes into politics, it's on election night at 7 o'clock when they've called the results in. It's way too early to make a call in this race. We hadn't even got to the draft yet.
Which gives us the opportunity. Let's take a look back at our previous champions. In 2018, the league's been going on since what, 2018?
2018, correct.
So in 2018, remember Kenny Wilburn was our very first champion of the league. Then in 2019, you won your very first championship.
Correct.
2020 was the COVID year, so you had Tammy and Junior, one of our ex-league members, who won that trophy together.
Very tough competitive year that year was.
Oh yes, it was. 2021 was Dan's first.
Nope.
It was Dan's first year. Yeah,
that's right.
It was Dan's first championship with Dust a Little Crazy.
Correct.
2022 was yours truly.
Yep, second 2-time.
2023 went back to Dust a Little Bit Crazy, Dan. And then last year for 2024 was the first time champion in Greg Lindsay with the Demon Ducks.
Correct, yep. So here's the interesting fact, everybody. So since we started in 2018, Scotty, we have never had a back-to-back champion, which is kind of amazing. We never had a back-to-back champion, and we don't have a 3-time champion. So that's part of the storyline. And I've been harping on that throughout our shows that we've done over the last month or so. I've been saying the same thing. It's just, what's it going to be? A 3-time champion, me or myself, Dan, a back-to-back champion in Greg, or a newcomer to the
That's
title.
right.
It's just so interesting. I'm so ready to find out what it's going to be, and I'm so ready to get this draft underway.
That's right. I'm looking forward to it too. Not to mention we may have another first-time champion in the Express.
Yep.
The Express has been in the playoffs before.
Exactly.
They had a good team the year before. Last year, just ran into a little bit of a trouble with an injury bug and had some issues.
Yep. We're going to see how they're going to perform.
I'm stick around for our predictions because the Express is in my predictions.
Exactly. Same here. Folks, let's go ahead and take a look at the 2025 pre-draft fantasy baseball power rankings. Now, these can and probably will change within a couple hours after the draft takes place. But we're going to go ahead and start from the bottom up. At number 8, we've got Jackson with the Warner Robin Bombers. His team is looking to get into the playoffs for the first time. At number 7, we've got Scotty in the Gatlinburg Cubs. He's also looking to get back into the playoffs from a couple of years ago. At number 6, we've got Ken and the Macon Chili Dogs. Now, this team, folks, was actually in the finals a couple of years ago. So he's looking to get back into the playoff formula. And at number 5, we've got Ruben with the Atlanta Express. He's also looking to get back into the playoffs. He was having a really good season last year, and he had a midseason struggle that took him out of the running. And we're going to look at the top 4 teams. At number 4, you've got yours truly, Thomas, with the Georgia Dominators, looking to win a 3rd championship and trying to get back into the finals. He's not been in the finals since his championship win of a couple of years ago. He's been bounced out the last 2 years in the first round. At number 3, you've got Tammy with the Wildcats. She's looking to get back into the championship match as she was a co-champion back in 2020. And at number 2, you've got Dan. His team is Wolf. And they bark, and they do provide a loud bark and a really severe bite, as he's also looking to win his 3rd championship. And at number 1, you've got the reigning and defending first-time Fantasy Baseball League champion, Greg Lindsay and the Demon Ducks. He's looking to go to the finals for a 3rd year in a row and looking to go back-to-back, something that has not been done in our league that we started in 2018. As another headline, Thomas and Dan, they're also looking for their 3rd championship, as I just pointed out. So the question is, will we have a first-time champion? Will we have a back-to-back? Or will we have a 3-time champion? You got to stick around and find out. All right, folks, we are now going to take a look at a section of the program called Draft News. This is one that you might want to take some notes and pay close attention to this for the draft coming up in a couple hours and whenever your league does drafts. And now we'll turn it over to analyst Greg Lindsay.
Good evening, folks. I'm going to start out with some breaking news. It just hit the wire. Garrett Cole from the Yankees, starting pitcher, right elbow, being tested. That's a big news. We're going to move on. We're going to start with Gunnar Henderson, shortstop, Orioles. He's got mild muscle strain. We'll move to Corbin Carroll, who is a left fielder for the Diamondbacks. And he's close to being ready, but he's still day-to-day. We got Ronald Acuna from the Braves, outfielder, knee injury. They saying he could be back after 1 to 2 months into the season. Then we got Rafael Devers, Boston, third base, shoulder. He hasn't participated all summer. Will Langford, Texas, outfielder, oblique. He's healing, should be good to go time the season starts. George Kirby, starting pitcher from the Mariners, shoulder injury. And another Yankee pitcher out, Lewis Gill, starting pitcher. He has got a lat, and he's going to be out 2 to 3 months. And that's 2 big hits the Yankees are going to take. Kristen Walker is the next participant. Astros, first base, day-to-day with an oblique strain. Nico Horner, second base, Cubs, forearm, and he will not travel with the team to Japan. And one other player I wanted to touch base with is Adonis Garcia, outfielder for the Rangers, mild oblique strain. I don't know, there's a lot of oblique strains this season. And that'll wrap up the top 10 players with some top injuries. Thank you.
All right, folks, that's about all the time we have tonight on this pre-draft edition of Baseball Now. Thomas, you got anything to add for the folks this evening?
Yes, Scotty, let's take a minute to thank our sponsors. Let's thank Eileen Lindsay's Movie Memories Museum, as she has done a great job over the last decade or so with her roles in her movies and TV shows. So if you got the chance to come up here, and that museum is located right here in Gatlinburg, Tennessee. You got a chance to come up here, take a look around the museum, a lot of fun artifacts and stuff like that. We also want to thank East Tennessee Media. If you get the chance, ladies and gentlemen, go check them out on Facebook, YouTube, and TikTok. They've got a lot of great, excellent train stuff going on. Rail fanning from Dollywood Express down in Georgia, East Tennessee, and everywhere. And go check out their series project they're working on with some historical shows about cities in East Tennessee media. That is really going to be fascinating when that is finished up. And third, we want to take a second to thank our third sponsor, Tammy's Cakes, located in Locust Grove, Georgia. They are really delicious and moist cakes, and you need to go try one if you're down in Georgia. Come on down to Locust Grove and try Tammy's Cakes.
Thank you, Thomas.
Yep.
Folks, let's please remember that after the draft at 7 o'clock tonight, head on over to our East Tennessee Media and our Southeastern Sports Network YouTube page for the post-draft special between me, Thomas, and Greg. That'll be live this evening after the 7 o'clock draft. Looking forward to it. I'm looking forward, as always, to have y'all back on the show. And looking forward to an excellent draft.
I'm looking forward to it. And folks, the draft is at 7, and it's getting about that time. Have a great rest of the evening, and remember to tune in to that post-draft special to figure out how everybody did.